want to go back to the truce line, which was approved by Israel and by Lebanon in 1949. Israel was in Lebanon and had to run away in Lebanon.
What?
Of course, they stayed 22 years, but there were too many killings of Israelis there. So I don't think Israel would want to occupy South Lebanon again, because this time the resistance is stronger than it was in the past. So I really don't understand the Israelis, because if they want to get back their people to the north, those who were displaced to the north, to their villages and settlements, they have to negotiate. And they have to negotiate with the Lebanese government through mediators like the Americans as well. Hezbollah for a few days or a week or so, they would be in trouble. It's not easy for them to receive such kind of a blow in 2 days. I don't know what's expected more, if there is anything else that's expected tomorrow. I mean, they penetrated their intelligence, they penetrated their communication. There's no doubt they would be a little bit in disarray. But I think this is an organization that can come back quickly. That's what happened in 2006, and they can come back quickly. Also, Israel for a year almost has been, we're going to finish from Hamas. Yes, Hamas has been weakened, but it's still there. So, ideas, you cannot kill ideas by war. This is, if you have an army against an army, one would win. But this case, it is not the case. It's not the same case as a war. You have an idea. An idea does not die. On the contrary, there would be more people really rallying towards this idea. Look, Hezbollah is a resistance movement, and let's deal government to government. We are willing to talk to Hezbollah at the right time, and we communicate with them all the time. And I think if Israel wants peace, we are ready for peace, for a ceasefire. Not a peace treaty, but for a ceasefire on the border, and an agreement on what are the conditions for this ceasefire.
Lebanon's newly elected president is speaking right now. There you go in Parliament. Let's take a listen.
In all aspects of judiciary, and to develop the work of the judiciary and the formation of judiciary based on effectiveness and capabilities and transparent. And we will make all the terms of taking the actions and the legal procedures easy and simple. We will encourage investment. We will fight corruption. Also, I pledge not to accept any law that is contradicting with the Constitution. I will play my role with all fairness and objectivity and within my rights of doing this. I will leave the Parliament and the Cabinet to consider their own matters. I will call for parliamentary consultations in order to have a Prime Minister that will be a partner, not an opponent. We will practice our capabilities. We will do our own things in order to have the freedom of the country and to have the justice everywhere and to have democracy all over the country everywhere. And we will be updated. We will ask everyone to be updated regarding what happened in the past so as not to repeat in the future. To the Cabinet and to the Parliament, I would like to say that we will consider so many jobs in the public affair and public sector. And the organizations and the formations will be there in order for the country and for the organizations and the people to live in dignity, and in order to hire those who know better for every part and for every job. No centralization. And we need to administer all the affairs of every organization, and no one must be worried to say whatever he wants or whatever she wants. We need to protect the producer, and we need to protect the consumer. We need to have good plans. We need to have a fair budget. We need to know how to administer our financial affairs. We need to offer quantitative services to the Lebanese people in order to keep the dignity of the Lebanese people, to boost the economy and to create jobs. As leader of the Defense Council and the High Commander of the Armed Forces, I will make sure that the country, and only the country, will carry weapons. A country, a state that will invest in the army in order to control the borders and in order to have our own borders, north and south, our sea borders, no trafficking. We will fight terrorism and we will keep the integrity of the Lebanese territories. We will apply the international resolutions. We will respect the truce agreement. We will prevent the Israeli aggressions on the Lebanese territories. Our army will have a doctrine. an army with a fighting doctrine, defensive doctrine, that protect the people, fight according to the terms of the Constitution. I will do whatever it takes for the security forces to be able to do their job, because they are a main tool of having the security in this country. I will ask for discussing the defense self-strategy as part of the country's strategies when it comes to the diplomatic domain, economic domain, military domain, in order for the Lebanese country again to get rid of all the Israeli occupation. We will do what it takes in order to reconstruct what has been destroyed by Israel in the south. Beqa, Dahia, the southern suburb of Beirut, and everywhere in Lebanon, with all transparency, because we believe that our martyrs are the spirit and soul of our will, and our sovereignty will be always kept. We will keep our sovereignty and our independence. The unity is the guarantor to keep us alive. And it is the right time now to make sure that Lebanon is the one that we will invest for. We need not to depend on the foreign powers against each other. I pledge that we will all be adhering to reject the Palestinians to stay here forever, because we need the Palestinians to return back to their countries according to the two-state solution based on the Arab Peace Initiative. Also, the Lebanese country, the Lebanese nation, has the right to practice its power on all the Lebanese territories, including the Palestinian camps, and to keep the dignity for the Palestinians there inside these camps. I also pledge to have best relations with the Arab countries based on the principle that Lebanon is an Arab country. We need to build strategic partners with the Gulf countries, North Africa, and we will prevent any conspiracy against their regimes. We will practice the policy of non-alignment, and we will never export anything but the best products, the best industries. We will attract tourists and the Arab investors and foreign investors in order to cope with this trend, and we will have very positive manpower that can help everywhere. The regional developments are quick, and we have a historic chance to have a historic dialogue with Syria, head-to-head dialogue with Syria, in order to sort out all the problems between the two countries. Particularly the respect of the independence and sovereignty of both countries to control the borders and non-interference in any of the internal affairs of these two countries. The missing people file will be discussed, and sorting out the problem of the displaced people. Sorting out the problem of the displaced Syrian people, because it has circumstances on the existence of Lebanon. We will cooperate with the brothers in Syria and the international community to sort out this crisis without any negative aspects, and to cooperate with the common government, with the parliament, to put a clear-cut mechanism that can be applied in order to return them back to their country. We will have an open policy towards the East and the West, and we will have alliances, and we will help and boost the relations between Lebanon and the brotherly sisterly country and the national community based on the mutual respect, to keep and respect the sovereignty and the freedom of taking decisions in Lebanon. Every Lebanese outside the country will be always proud of his country, the way that we are proud of them all. They need to vote. They have the right to vote. They need to be loyal to every country, town, and village and city in Lebanon. Those who want to come back, they are most welcome. Those who can, they are most welcome. And the permanent immigration must not be there most of the time. We will cooperate with the government in order to develop the laws of elections for the sake of giving a chance to everyone to take the responsibility and to have the right representation, transparency, liability. We will work together to have the national transition of laws in Lebanon. In order to reduce the burdens on the citizens and to boost their sustainable development and comprehensive development. I will adhere to the free economy, personal ownership, private ownership, where we will always be under the same law, and banks that are working hard without restrictions, no secrets other than the professional secrets of the banks.
He led the army in a fashion that resembles the French expression la grande muette, the great silent. institution. He was very far from giving media statements. He was not necessarily someone that the Lebanese people heard from very often, but they heard about him very often. And he was widely seen as a honest leader when in a country where corruption is widespread. So this was a stark difference between him and many other potential candidates for the presidency. At the same time, the Lebanese army as an institution enjoys levels of respect and levels of support among the population that are higher than any other institution, because specifically it is perceived as a non-corrupt, or at least much less corrupt organization than the others. It is also an institution whose members come from various Lebanese sects, and at the same time has managed to remain relatively immune to the political infighting that is very common in Lebanon, in other Lebanese political institutions, in the parliament, in government institutions, and even in local government and municipalities. So this gave him enough respect in the general population, in addition to the very strong relationship he has built with other international partners of Lebanon, the United States definitely, but also France, Great Britain, and Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and so many other players in the region who found him as a consensus candidate who can garner the largest amount of support. One major task for the president, at least in the next few months, it's his ability to guarantee the full implementation of the ceasefire agreement and consequently the full implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 1701, which is seen as the gateway for Lebanon to regain some form of security stability, some form of sovereignty that are preconditions for any international aid to Lebanon, a country that is going through one of the worst economic crises, that needs heavy investment in reconstruction. This money will not come if the leadership of the country is seen as corrupt or is seen as beholden to the interests of the political parties, those very political parties that brought Lebanon to the brink of complete collapse.